I argue the fact that your company-wide LinkedIn presence is more powerful than your company website is now.
When it comes to LinkedIn video, you might want to consider what's working right now on the platform.
Do you want to pay $10,000 for that rep to go to
Las Vegas
TechCom,
for
in Vegas, for a week?
Yep.
Or do you want to set him free for a month
Yeah.
and give him some real hard education on LinkedIn and let him start marketing himself there for a couple $100?
In this conversation, I'm joined by LinkedIn expert Chuck Shaver, and we're going to talk about the latest video trends on LinkedIn.
Oh, I'm gonna put this out in front of the billion users on LinkedIn, and not all of them are active. Yeah, but thousands of them are.
This is the Video Lab show where I have high-value conversations with experts in video marketing, video content, and video platforms. I'm your host, Caleb, founder of the Video Lab, a content studio located in downtown Sioux Falls, South Dakota. If you're interested in learning more about how online video can help your business create more awareness, generate more sales, and build trust with your audience, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future conversations. Here's my conversation with Chuck Shaver about what you need to know about video on LinkedIn in 2025. Well, Chuck, welcome back.
Thank you.
It's good to have you back on the show. Today we're going to be talking about the future of LinkedIn video and some video trends to watch this year, 2025, and then beyond of what's happening with video on the platform of LinkedIn. And we kind of talked about this in our last episode a little bit of how, things are kind of shifting a little bit with video on LinkedIn to where it is kind of, they're starting to prioritize that video content just a little bit.
Right.
And I think there are some certain types of video. And then, okay, let me get this clear first before we jump into the trends. I'm not talking about trending stuff. Like, I'm not talking about trends in video, like dancing videos.
Right.
I'm not talking about some videos like acting out videos or, street interview type viral style videos.
Right.
I'm talking the types of videos that are working for people on LinkedIn, like live streams or maybe short form video, which we'll get into all of those different things.
Right.
So as you kind of are, experiencing LinkedIn video and the growth of LinkedIn video, what have you seen with some of those video trends so far as we get started?
Yeah. Well, I mean, LinkedIn jumped in, a couple years ago, really, with the whole live streaming, and it was pretty clunky at first, and they worked through a lot of things, and now it's pretty smooth. They really are seeing what other socials are doing, and they're reacting to it. Is what they're always tend to be doing. So, things like live streaming that everyone's been doing for a while, they like, oh yeah, we want to do that, so they're jumping on it. And TikTok gets popular, with the short form videos, and it's okay, we want to do that, and then Facebook expands upon that and starts adding their reels. They want, that sort of thing. So they're more of a follower. They're more of letting other socials do it on a purely social, personal, platform, because they consider themselves more of a business platform. So I don't know if because they're owned by Microsoft that they want that proof of concept first or what, but that's the trend that they seem to. So if it's hot right now on another social platform, then LinkedIn's paying attention and it'll come out there shortly.
That's interesting. I actually didn't know that LinkedIn was owned by Microsoft.
Yeah.
That's a little interesting fact that I just learned today. Thanks, Chuck.
They weren't always, but they are. Yeah, they have been for a while.
Okay, so let's dive into these trends, and we're approaching LinkedIn. Before we do that, can you just define again what LinkedIn is? Like, who is it for?
Right.
And what is this platform, LinkedIn?
Yeah, so LinkedIn is, it's another social platform, but what it's known for is being more B2B centric.
Okay, yeah.
So where it started out as everyone's kind of resume platform at first, now people are realizing that it can be a real powerful resource.
Okay.
So I argue the fact that your company-wide LinkedIn presence is more powerful than your company website is now, just because you're going to find the people that you're looking for on LinkedIn quicker than you ever would on your website. The SEO is a lot deeper. There's a lot more resources that you can build in and a lot more reach you can get.
Right. Okay. So with keeping that in mind, let's get into the video trends that we see. And, we talked about this a little bit on the last episode, but I pop up LinkedIn on my phone right now, and the video aspect is starting to grow. So one of the things I see are basically the reel carousel. So if you think of like Instagram Reels, that's what I see on my app as I, go through the feed. It'll show up, and then I can kind of scroll through those. But then the other thing too is like now I have an actual video button that I can hit, and it will take me to these basically reels. I'm just going to call them reels.
Right.
For lack of a better term, I don't know what Instagram calls them or what LinkedIn calls them, but that's basically what it is reels. So obviously what they're doing is pushing this short form content like reels.
Yes.
So that is what we're talking about when we're talking about trends. So can you just explain a little bit, why are these short form pieces of content so powerful right now on this platform?
Well, the reason why they're embracing them is they're seeing the value of it. I mean, let's be honest, these are all social platforms that want to make money.
100%.
So they make money by people spending time on their platform. You know, they can sell advertising, they can sell your data. Most people don't realize, that just by having a LinkedIn profile, you have a lot of information out there.
Yeah.
But if you don't turn it off, they're selling off. So even if you're not a paid subscription user, they're making money off you. So that's their goal, is to make money off you. And the longer they can keep you, the better. So, I mean, everyone's seen the addiction of TikTok, and that's why Facebook jumped on board with it. And that's why now LinkedIn's jumping on board with that. And that's why Instagram's morphed of more of a, photo type of thing to more of a video. Everyone's, and YouTube's been there forever. So everyone knows the power of video, and they're just trying to, keep up with the Joneses and follow along. And that's what they've been doing.
Now, with your experience and expertise in LinkedIn, how have you seen people utilizing that short form content? And when we say short form content, we're talking like vertical content like this. So it's edited and shot like this, basically.
They're using it in all different, forms. I mean, there's some people that are working on just their own personal brand, and they walk down a sidewalk is their gig, and they do like little daily videos, little nuggets they learned, or information that they want to share, or whatever it is. Sometimes it's somebody did a long form video in some fashion. Maybe it's a podcast, maybe it's a whatever, but they want to give people a little taste of it. They don't want to make them sit through a long, drawn out video, but I'm going to give you a nugget as a hook. So you're like, I want to see the whole thing. And that's another form. Or do you just take shorts out of like a podcast or something?
Kind of looking down into the future, do you see LinkedIn prioritizing this short form content over the longer form videos that somebody might put out there?
Yeah, I mean, they already have. I mean, the long form video, this is social media, so people in the normal feed don't want to see a 20-minute, hour-long video. So the way that this process works is you give them a short and find a way to get them to that long form. So
like that.
The problem is that usually is not going to sit on LinkedIn. It's going to sit on your website. That's going to sit on your YouTube page. That's going to sit someplace else. That's leaving LinkedIn. LinkedIn doesn't like that. No social likes that. They want to keep you on their platform. So it's a dance, and there's an algorithm to play. There's a style to play. There's a lot of variables that comes into that you need to consider.
Have you seen people kind of like in your circle of LinkedIn? Have you seen people using LinkedIn short form video like TikTok or like Instagram Reels, where they're spending that time kind of almost, twitching their thumb and scrolling through those? Have you experienced that or noticed anybody doing that?
Well, they haven't had that for a year yet, but they've moved to that like very TikTok-ish kind of, or Reels type of format where if you go through your normal scroll of your normal news, it could be like just text. It could be, some regular photographs. It could be like once you hit that first video, if you open it up to watch the video, it'll go full screen.
Gotcha. Yep.
And then all you have to do is swipe up. It'll go to the next video that they think you might like, and the next one, just like TikTok. And what I find is if I go through the normal feed, I might come across a dozen videos.
Okay.
But if I open that first video and I just thumb up, they're not those same 12 videos.
Yeah,
it's just that first one is the same, because a whole nother algorithm comes into play, and they're more focused on, what is this person like?
Right.
What because they got a lot of data on you.
Yeah.
So they're saying, just like TikTok, just like the other socials work, what is going to interest this person next, and what's popular and trending right now. And I'm going to pop that in for the second video, because they want to keep you.
Yeah, totally.
They want you to lose track of time, and just like the casinos with the dark windows and no clocks, they want to keep you.
Yeah.
In their
creepy. You just started whispering. I got creepy.
Never leave our platform.
So how are you utilizing like short form video content for your personal brand?
A few different ways. I mean, if I'm doing something like this, if I'm doing a podcast, then that's also recording, then, sometimes that's live stream.
Yeah.
So I'm doing live video to LinkedIn and other social platforms. And then I'll take if they don't catch it live, then I want to promote people to see the replay.
Yep.
And a great way to do that is carve it up into little short form nuggets.
Yeah, love it.
That will appeal to people, that'll capture their attention, that'll make them want to go to the long form. So if I have that on, let's say, my YouTube page, and I can get better analytics from that, then I have a way to stepstone them over to that long form. So
excellent. Now, when we think about short form content and the rise of short form content on LinkedIn, are there certain things that those videos should have in them that will be most effective? And I'm thinking things like maybe captions.
Yes. It should be mandated at this
It should
point.
be mandated. Yeah. Totally agree. I mean, if you're not having captions on your videos now, like, what are you even doing?
Right. Yeah, because that's how people consume it now. Everyone, it's probably now up to 70% of people that look at your profile or consume content on social are doing it on mobile. So, and what happens is, if I'm in a coffee shop, if I'm, on mass transit, if I am in a waiting room at a dentist office, I don't want audio blaring.
Totally.
So why would anyone watch your video if they can't hear it? That's because they can read it.
Yeah. Totally.
So I mean, people are used to that now, and that's pretty much
Now, one of the things on like Instagram and TikTok is like that trending audio piece to it that, kind of helps push your short form content. Is there anything like that on LinkedIn, that some of those features, like in-app editing type things for short form, or is that we're kind of where they're falling behind a little bit?
I mean, they're always behind the other socials when it comes to, filters and layers and graphics and scheduling, and everything they do is always kind of behind what the rest of them are doing, and that keeps third-party software vendors in business also. But I mean, by the time this airs, I don't know, they might have something, but I'll guarantee at least they're never like a pioneer in that stuff. They always wait for the other socials, the other personal and or B2C players. And maybe it's an R&D thing. Maybe they're hiring their people.
Wait, do you have some insider information?
No, I don't.
Oh,
no, I
Chuck,
don't.
I was hoping you'd have some insider
maybe
information.
It's a profit deal. I don't know, but it's like, why spend all that money to develop that if it's not a proof concept? And
True.
I don't know why. I mean, Microsoft's got money, so why wouldn't they? But yeah, I mean, whatever today is that people are listening to this, it's almost guaranteed that what's on, the other socials are going to be more advanced. So
Gotcha.
if you're used to that new filter or that new feature or
Yeah.
that new AI edit tool,
Mm-hmm.
odds are LinkedIn's going to be behind.
Well, I mean, it's encouraging though that, you open up the app and you start seeing that those short form videos, vertical takes up the whole screen. So they're moving in the right direction, right?
Right.
I feel like. So as we kind of think about, the trends for LinkedIn, we've established that short form video content is probably one of the top ones that if you are not utilizing it for your business or whatever product you have, possibly,
Right.
you could potentially be missing out. Let's jump into another trend that I think is very popular on LinkedIn and something that you already mentioned, live streaming.
Right.
How effective is live streaming on the LinkedIn platform?
It's really effective.
Yeah.
The reason why is because you will get a notification if somebody live streams. So when I do a live stream, everyone that I'm connected to, if they happen to be on LinkedIn, it'll give them a notification that, hey, Chuck's live,
Yeah.
here, and all they got to do is click a button and boom, they're in my live,
Yeah.
like video kind of thing. I mean, they're not on stage. I don't
Right,
set
right.
it up that way. They're still just a viewer, but it's, I mean, you can send out 1,000 invites and people to commit to that invite
Yeah.
is, always going to be a fractional number.
Yeah, totally.
But if it's like, hey, if I happen to be on LinkedIn this morning checking some message, oh, Chuck's in a live event, I'll pop in.
What is he talking about?
Yeah, I'll check in on that. You get a ton of people that will pop in on that otherwise you wouldn't have even probably had the courage to personally invite, to the event if you were doing like a formal webinar or something. So it drives a lot of attention to you. It's a great way to, and the other thing is if you're doing a live stream, you can live stream it to multiple platforms. It's
absolutely.
not just LinkedIn.
Yep.
I mean, you can simultaneously have it going out to YouTube and Facebook and
Yeah, that's one of the
place
things with my show last time I did this around.
Right.
Like I did a live version of it.
Right.
It's different now, obviously.
Right.
But I did a live version of it and I pushed it out to LinkedIn, I pushed it out to Facebook, and I pushed it out to YouTube. 3 platforms, creating a ton of awareness,
Right.
But then from that live stream, I got all of these shorts, right?
Right.
These shorts that we just talked about, these
Right.
reels. And so it's such a versatile piece of versatile way of doing things with that live. And the thing I really love about live streams is just the interaction that you get. And I think that's where live streams kind of are like set apart as a form of video content.
Right.
Live streams are kind of set apart in a way that you're just not going to get like really that some of that interaction like you would in a live stream. Like it's an opportunity for people to come and like ask direct questions to you
Right.
live on air.
Yeah,
You know what I
in the
mean?
chat,
and
yeah.
get answers real time, right? So that's one of the things I love about live streams and just the opportunity that it provides that provides your viewers, right? Of getting those answers and getting that information live. What are some types of live streams as we think about live streams on the LinkedIn platform? Are you doing different types of live streams? Like, is it just like Q&A sessions or is it like webinars? Like what types of things do you see or types of live streams that you see on that platform?
I personally don't do webinars
Okay, yep.
Across live stream because I want those to be a private invite.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And
Almost like an email invitation type,
Yeah.
like give me your email to get in there type thing.
I leverage LinkedIn because I'm a
Oh, yeah,
LinkedIn
yeah,
guy
yeah.
on LinkedIn selling LinkedIn. So I DM people directly through LinkedIn.
Gotcha.
So I can, and I get, great response out of that.
right.
I mean, I get hundreds of people that sign up for those. So it's, it's great exposure for that. But no, it's more of, I'm a guest more than I don't have my own podcast.
Yep.
Maybe I will by the time this airs.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't.
Hope so.
I'm typically a guest of somebody else, and I'm happy to do them. To get my name out there, I get content back from it. It's a win-win for me to do those. But yeah, that's all I do for streaming. Is I'm usually a guest.
Yeah. And then again, cut that up, right? And then you have that short form content.
Right.
Love it. Okay, so we talked about like the reel style videos. We talked about live stream and how effective that can be for your viewers. And how about something like this, like what we're doing here,
Like studio?
like a video podcast type thing, not
Oh, yeah.
necessarily live, but it's like a recording like this,
Right.
where you have, I don't know, we're almost 30 minutes in on this, 20,
Right.
25 minutes in on this. What about something like this on the LinkedIn platform? Will
Oh, yeah.
that play?
Oh, yeah, I would go live stream on that.
Go live stream with it?
Oh, yeah.
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 Okay.
And everything else that comes with that.
Yeah, totally.
Obviously, take the recorded, put it up in your wherever if your YouTube, is typically where people are going to have their channel. Yeah, and if it's something that you want to have, through any podcast type,
Right.
like series, you can put it up there too. But yeah, the content you can get, videotape everything, because it used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, when podcasts first started out, they would be in a setting like this.
Yep.
They would do a little video, but it would be all audio only.
Totally.
But they would use the video shorts
Yeah.
to hook you into the audio.
Yep.
And what the trend is I want to see the audio.
Yeah, right.
I want to see these people,
Like who's talking?
Yeah. I want to see them, actually interact. And even if I'm multitasking and I'm listening to it walking around the house, it's like I don't need to like stare at it constantly, because I know what they look like and they're just kind of looking at each other talking. But I want to glance at it from time to time.
That's so true, because like you listen to, like my wife will do this. Like she'll be listening to a podcast and she'll hear something that's said on it. Maybe it's like the Nate Land podcast, like Nate Bargatze or something.
Right.
And they start like kind of going off on, something that's really funny, and they start laughing and everything. And she will go and like, she'll see the actual, like go and look for the actual video, and then she'll show that to me, so that you kind of get that like human experience of seeing them laugh and all that. And I think that's what's so beautiful about the video piece of a podcast. And if you're not doing video for your podcast, you're definitely missing out, because you're missing that human connection for sure.
Right.
And I think we're beyond the days too, where it's just a little audio wave that shows up on your, like, you might upload it as a video. This is getting kind of in the weeds a little bit, but you might upload your podcast as a video, and it's like just a little waveform or a picture.
Right.
But it's just audio. You don't see who's talking or anything. But it's like a little waveform going. I think those days are over. Mm-hmm. I think you need to start having faces on your podcast style videos.
Right.
And they're all over the place. Mm-hmm. People are doing it, and they're super effective. So if you need to add that video element, put your phone up, right? Or come to the studio here. We'll shoot that for you. Like there's opportunity to get that video up there, but you're missing out if you don't have that on your podcast.
Right. I agree.
Okay, so we're looking at the video trends, 2025 and beyond. As we kind of go over some of the things, we talked about shorts, live streams, we talked about video podcasts. What else do you see?
AI is really coming into play.
Yeah.
The buzzword.
The buzzword.
It's not just the CapCuts and the other softwares out there that you can just dump a long form video into and here, make me a bunch of shorts and add captions and do all this other stuff.
I use Opus Clip, by the way.
Okay. But I mean, there's new tools coming out every week.
100%.
But I think there's some things we haven't even dreamed up that are going to come out with AI. Like, just putting a video out has to be wrapped.
Yeah.
It's not just grabbing a video and posting it up on YouTube or sharing it in your feed and thinking that it's going to take flight. There are, on some platforms, it's, very hashtag sensitive. On some platforms, it's very SEO driven.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, I want to find out about video on social. Well, if you don't have those keywords, in the description part of it, they might never find, that. So there's all these variables. But I think in the future, AI is going to be leveraged probably forefront for the paid ads market. but it's going to be this whole geo-targeting whatever is going to be, hey, if I know that Caleb's looking for a coffee maker, then I'm going to cross-reference that with this AI for that video. And, just like I said that because I've been shopping new coffee makers, and now that's all I see in my feed. Because they know, they know, but there's going to be a whole nother layer of your video where it can transcribe your video and what you talk about and line you up with different people through AI. And so it's going to, you think it's creepy now. I mean, it's just going to get more and more creepy.
Just wait.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That is definitely the case.
Yep.
I think AI, I mean, even just from like an idea generation concept, of like if you're looking for video ideas,
right?
I mean, people are going to ChatGPT now just to come up with their video ideas and that type of thing. So like any like
Claude's been trending a lot.
Yeah, Claude has been trending, but any like integrations, into the platform would be huge.
I just think AI is going to be, just like people are using AI chat to sit there and say, write me a story about, that's going to appeal to a VP of sales in an upper Midwest company of 500 employees that likes to golf. And, you can put that kind of crazy stuff in and it'll scour the world of data that it can get access to and write you something beautiful. I think we're going to start seeing that in video where it's like, take this raw form video and I want to add captions and I want to do this and I want to do that. And it might be $1 million software when it first comes out, but it's going to be all the heavy lift stuff that takes all the time and effort to make raw form video prettier and functional. I think AI is going to start making software to make that. Just tell it what you want and give it the raw material and it'll be able to produce it someday.
So the barrier to entry for making video content is going to get way lower.
Right.
Yeah. Which it's pretty low right now because we have our phones.
So
we can make video pretty easily. But yeah, it's going to get even lower. Now, one of the things that I think, like I'm a video creator. I make a lot of my own content. I make a lot of my own content for my personal YouTube channel where I talk about these cameras that I use, and it's provided a lot of opportunity for me to travel with the company and work with other brands from around the world. You see a lot of people on TikTok creating videos, and a big piece of this is a revenue-driven piece where I make money from YouTube. It's a revenue stream from me. A lot of people make money from TikTok. However, what I don't see with LinkedIn is a lot of content creators focusing their attention on LinkedIn. Do you foresee, do you have any insider information about any like monetization features that would be coming to LinkedIn where content creators like myself or, others that kind of look to these platforms as a revenue source, would we ever be able to take this to LinkedIn and know that there's going to be like money there?
Not in the same fashion as like YouTube.
Yep.
It's but I'm an influencer for companies.
Yep.
So companies pay me to basically help them boost their content.
So that's probably where it's going to be.
It's more influencer based.
That piece. Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So if you build a following, if you build a voice there, and people want to be a part of that, then the more popular you are, the more that you can sell yourself on that platform. But as far as LinkedIn cutting you a check, I don't see them ever subscribing to that.
Because that's where I'm wondering, like the whole video piece of LinkedIn. Because the content creator aspect is like drives a lot of these platforms. And so will they take that Will they take that to LinkedIn?
Well,
if they're not going to,
they-
unless it's sponsorship opportunities.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean they've done a lot of things that they've shelled. I mean, I could go through a grocery list
Yeah.
of things that they've
That
tested.
might be another episode.
Yeah, that they've
What hasn't
tested that don't work. But video has been a hockey stick for years.
Yeah.
You know, I mean they did different badges that, you know, crashed and burned. They did
Yeah.
the games, which you know, might still exist as far as the
Yeah.
games, but it pretty much crashed and burned. So there's certain things out there that you know, that have failed, but the more they lean into video, the
Yeah.
more it's growing in popularity and getting them.
How do you
more
see
views.
like business owners and you know, maybe solopreneurs kind of staying ahead of the game when it comes to video on LinkedIn? Like maybe jumping on these, like
Yeah, I mean, mostly
utilizing these trends or whatever.
mostly it's just red tape.
Mm.
I mean, when I work with a large company, I'm basically taking executives and marketing people and sales leaders and being a cat herder.
Yeah.
Because they all have their own agendas. They all have their own like structure. They all have, you know, a little bit of you know, what they want out of it, and that creates red tape. That
Yeah.
creates structure that constrains people from doing it. So if you're giving that lead to marketing, and this happens a lot, is
Yeah.
a company will say, "Oh, we're going to jump in on this LinkedIn thing, so marketing, go do that LinkedIn thing." Well, marketing does traditional marketing things most of the time,
Right.
so there's not that personal style to it. It's more, you know, sanitary. It's more like traditional marketing, talking about their products and services. Maybe the occasional happy whatever day or potluck this or whatever, but otherwise, it's like it's not entertaining.
Yeah.
It's all just educational. So, but the small solopreneur, the independent, they can really leverage their own personal brand because
Yeah.
they don't have a manager telling them, well, don't just go willy-nilly on LinkedIn and start talking about yourself. You know, and it's like that's my biggest challenge with sales leaders, because it's like you're going out to conventions, you're picking up the phone and calling people every single day. You trust these people in the wild on a regular basis.
Totally.
You hired them and gave them a W-2 and gave them, you know, a retirement 401k, and you trust them to represent your company. But the biggest opportunity that they could possibly have in selling themselves on social, and you want to constrain that? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
And when you frame it that way, most people are like, I don't know. You know, it's like, do you want to pay $10,000 for that rep to go to, you know,
Las Vegas for the
TechCom,
Yeah,
whatever,
right, yeah.
in Vegas, you know, for a week?
Yep.
Or do you want to set him free for a month
Yeah.
and give him some real hard education on LinkedIn and let him start marketing himself there for a couple $100?
Yeah.
You know, so the value is so much higher there that I think that, just like anything, the smaller you are, the more nimble you are. Yes,
Yeah.
you have a budget, you know, more so than maybe the bigs, but you also have a lot less red tape, and
Yeah,
you can just kick your own self in the butt and say, go. Like Monday, I'm going to make my first post.
Yeah.
You know, Tuesday, I'm going to make my first video.
Like I'm going to have a content day where I just batch shoot a bunch of stuff, and
Exactly.
then I'm good for the month.
Right,
You
right,
know?
right.
Excellent. Now, one of the things I notice on LinkedIn is that, you know, articles are pretty popular, like you know, actually creating an article. And I actually created my first article on LinkedIn a few weeks ago. Well, at the time of shooting this video that we're on right now, a few weeks ago. I was so proud of myself. Do you see those articles becoming almost like videos then? Or should those be an article and a video?
Right.
Or should it be a video that complements the article?
Right.
Or should it just be a video, not an article?
Good question. I think there's so let me just talk about what the best way to use an article is.
Yeah, totally.
And then I'll line that up with a video, different type of way to do it. So I like articles for long form,
Makes sense.
story.
Yeah,
You know,
makes
it's a
sense.
text-based story, because again, this is social media. People have a short attention span. You want that hook. You want to
Yep.
grab them. You want to. So if somebody says, "Well, I can't tell my whole story," in less than 1,200 words,
Yeah.
then I'm like, "Well, then you need to write an article,
Yeah.
and then you share that article with a short form
Gotcha.
description
Yeah.
of." Here's this article. Here's what's great about this article. Put that hook in there,
Yeah.
and then drive them to that article. That's how you frame an
Gotcha.
article, and that article will sit there and it'll stay there. And if you want, you can also in your profile you have the ability to add a featured section. So you
Yep.
could park it there, a
Yep.
video or a article. You can park it there so it stays there. Not
Yeah.
like content that just
Right.
drifts off and with like tumbleweeds.
Gets lost. Yeah.
Right. So they don't have, but I think there'd be huge value in doing a similar setup with videos.
Yeah,
Here's
love it.
long form videos,
Yeah.
just like an article.
Yep.
Here is your library of long form
Yeah.
videos, just like a YouTube.
Yep.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that short in the post.
Yeah.
And that's going to link it back there. Now, guess what, LinkedIn? They're not leaving your platform.
Right.
Now,
So beneficial for LinkedIn.
yeah. Yeah, so I think that would be huge. So I'll send this up the river and
Yeah.
see if it sticks.
Yeah.
Because that would be the best of both worlds for me.
100%.
Because I want to promote the long form,
Yeah.
but the more you drive people out of the platform, the more your reach gets squeezed a little bit.
Yep.
So it makes it harder. I'd be happy to keep it on LinkedIn if they had that
Totally.
type of setup.
Well, and on YouTube, if you have like a short form video, you can link it back to your long form. So it's
Right,
like a direct,
right.
like a direct link. Like any opportunity that provides that you can provide people to go to a long form video, super beneficial to that platform.
Right.
Because like you said, I mean, and you say it, and it's 100% true. They want you to stay on the platform. Every platform wants you to stay on whatever platform you're on.
Right.
For as long as possible.
Right.
And so they're just going to keep feeding you stuff. So having that link back to like your long form video, and then you can turn that video into like a written text as well, for the people that want to spend some time reading.
I think TikTok is like changed the whole
Yeah.
social world.
Yeah.
They've seen how addictive that is,
I know.
that short form, and
Yep.
they're the forefront leader in that. And yeah, we'll see.
Ugh. I'm going to go on record and say I just cannot stand TikTok, but I have given in and sold out, and I'm putting stuff on TikTok now for the Video Lab.
I'll load the app and then I'll lose 3 days of my life, and then I'll get
Where'd Chuck go?
angry and delete it, and they'll be like,
Your kids are like, "Where's
I come
Dad?"
out, I'm unshaven.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll
Need a little bit of a haircut or something.
It's horribly addictive.
Yeah.
And everyone knows that, and that's
Totally.
why everyone's jumping on it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So we're looking at these video trends. What do you see like as far as like industry or niche? Where do you see them? Like, are there certain industries or certain niches that might benefit from using some of these video trends, like live streaming or short form video, more so than others?
Not anymore.
Okay.
I mean, it's
I like
really
that.
washed out.
Yeah.
I mean, weekly people will sit there and say, "Oh, I'm not going to spend any time on LinkedIn because
Yeah.
my customers aren't there," and I'll challenge them. I'll say, "Well, tell me who your customers are. Give
Yeah.
me a story of who your ideal customer profile is." And we'll walk through, and I'll try to equate that to searchable
Yeah.
characteristics that I can leverage on LinkedIn, and I'll be like, bam, here's 1,500 points of contact
Yeah.
with their contact information. They're like, well, okay, they've got a profile, but they're not active on it. Okay,
Yeah.
well, let me flip this switch that says who's been active in the last 30 days on it. Boom. And okay, yeah, that went down to 700. Is that a good enough list to get started with? And
Yeah.
that's like a regular thing for me. And people are like, wow, and it's usually more up to date than any other platform. I remember back in the day in sales, we used to pay a lot of money for
Yeah.
lists.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
and they're almost, and then you've got your own CRM, and both of them are usually like so far out of date.
Yep.
But you look at somebody's LinkedIn profile, and if they had a job change in the last month, odds are they changed it in their
Yeah,
LinkedIn profile.
totally.
You know, so it doesn't always have all the information you need in there, but it's definitely a great starting point. And again, just like anything, you know, if I cold call people on the phone,
Yeah.
how many people are going to pick up? Very small number.
Yeah,
Of those
totally.
people that pick up, how many are willing to have a conversation with me? You know, also a
Yeah.
small number. So
Yeah.
a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. So, I'm gonna put this out in front of the billion users on LinkedIn, and not all of them are active. Yeah, but thousands of them are.
Yeah, totally.
You know, so it's a numbers game, and if you do it right, then you know, if you have a good video strategy, then
Yeah.
you're going to grab the people that are out there. So.
Which watch our other video about, we have a video strategy video that we talked about for LinkedIn specifically.
Yep.
All right. Well, before we get into your one thing for here, are there any last thoughts about video trends for 2025 and beyond when we think about video on LinkedIn? Anything else?
Just that they're not going away.
They're not going away.
And they're always going to advance and get bigger. So, and it's a learning curve. So just start somewhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a big deal. It doesn't have to be a high production. It doesn't have to be a big expense.
I think one of the things is just that perfectionism aspect, especially on LinkedIn. I feel like we might have to come across as like very, professional driven. So
Right.
like, should our video content look like that? Where, we talked about in the last episode and a little bit earlier in this episode is like, it's okay to have your phone up here and just shoot some video of like
Right.
something that you want to talk about that day.
And sometimes bad videos are good for you because
Yeah.
it shows you're human.
Totally. Yeah.
So if it's too polished all the time.
Yeah. Do you want to use that as your one thing, or do you have a one thing that you want to?
Yeah, I think that's an
Love it.
important piece of just start,
Yes.
because most people aren't doing video at least regularly.
Yeah. Right.
But getting in front of that camera, like I talk to, I have customers that do a lot of their own little videos on their smartphones.
Yep.
And it takes nothing more than some of their time.
Yeah, totally.
To do that. One little nugget I'd say is understand where your camera lens is
Gotcha.
and look into it.
Yeah.
And don't try to read from a script.
Yep.
People put up teleprompters. People have notes. It doesn't seem genuine if you're not
Gotcha.
like looking right.
Yeah. That
at
authenticity
the camera.
That authenticity piece is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going to be uncomfortable the first time you do it.
100%.
And the second time.
I tell people
the third
that it's going to take 50 to 100 videos for you to
Right.
feel comfortable.
Right.
Just know it's going to take that long.
Right.
Unless you're like a super extrovert or you've been on news broadcasts or something,
Right.
where you feel comfortable in front of the camera.
Right.
A lot of us aren't.
Right.
And so it's going to take 50 to 100 videos.
I'm so uncomfortable right now.
well, we
this
got some big lights in here too.
And this
so
is I don't know, my 20th or something podcast.
yeah. Excellent. So if you don't get anything else from this whole episode,
Right.
Chuck's one thing is just get started and get
start.
rolling.
Just start. If
Yeah.
if you haven't started, then just put it in your calendar.
Yeah.
You can even push it out a month if you
Yep.
need to.
Make a content day
Yeah.
and just try a few.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And
right.
you don't need to post it if you're not comfortable with it, but don't overanalyze it.
Yeah.
It's okay. Just put it out there.
I actually have a whole webinar about the obstacles that keep us from creating video content and perfectionism and the whole concept of imposter syndrome was all part of that,
Yeah.
of
And
that
we talked
webinar.
about the
So-
paralysis from analysis.
Yes. Yeah. I love that saying too. All right, Chuck. Well, where can people find you?
You can go to my website, cssalesconsulting.com, or just if you search Chuck Shaver on LinkedIn, you'll probably find me.
And you are all over LinkedIn.
I
Over
try to
LinkedIn.
be.
Yeah.
Try to be.
Nice. Well, thanks so much for being on this episode talking about trends in 2025 for video on LinkedIn, and beyond. Because I believe there's things coming for LinkedIn.
Oh,
video. Yeah. So, all right. Thanks so much. And we're going to have you back sometime. All right.
Yeah, please do.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you.